As successful entrepreneurs, we never stop wanting, and there's no reason to. The opportunity is to shift what we want, and most importantly, and this is the key to this conversation, how we get it. What it took for us to get where we are will not ever get us where we want to go next, unless where we want to go next is more of the same. There's nothing wrong with more of the same. I'm not making judgments. I'm speaking truth from experience. More of the same looks like this. I've been successful and I've gotten what I wanted. My feeling of freedom comes from having enough money to do what I want. Now, I would look at that as a temporary stage moving towards success, because it doesn't matter having enough money to have freedom for me and for what I call top 1% entrepreneurs. Now, it may matter for you. Why do you need to be a top 1% entrepreneur? It's not necessary. If you made $100 million and you're happy with that, and you don't need to be a top 1% entrepreneur in terms of having unconditional freedom, there's no judgment. That's a great life. For some of us, there's a hint of wanting something more. What is the wanting? What do we want? We want a life without conditions. This is what we're missing. This is what we're not understanding. This is how reality works. How do we get a life where the freedom is unconditional? It's an inner state of freedom in our mind where we have access, progressively improving access, and eventually, if we go far enough into the 1% stage, full access. To what? Universal wisdom. So how do we define this? How do we think about it? And how do we get it? Universal wisdom surrounds us. It is in us. We are it. Any separation between us and universal wisdom is created by us and our perception of the world. When we begin to feel a sense of connection into universal wisdom, what does that feel like? There's something working for us at this phase, and this is described lots of ways. Just be aware of what's happening. You are not there yet. You just started, to be honest. You have not yet entered what I call the road less traveled, which is a life where instead of making progress incrementally, you leap, don't run towards getting what you want. These are called exponential growth leaps. This is a completely different experience of life than what you are used to if you have not experienced this. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you have not experienced this yet, and that's fine. Universal wisdom enters us, and it can enter us at any time. Some people describe this as God is talking to me. That's not true, but that's what you think is happening. There's nothing wrong with it. I want to go with that. That's really important. It's a big step to prepare you for what's coming, which is what's more important. Some see this as intuition. There's an intuitive sense. There's something greater. There's a understanding. There's a inner knowledge and inner confidence. You feel directed. There's directional clues. Same thing as God is talking to you. For others, It's seeing something in mind. There's an idea, there's an image. It can even be very specific, like a movie laid out in your mind, or a content program, or a lead generation system even. And you're like, wow, I can't believe I did that. And you think that it's coming from somewhere that is separate from you. That's very hard to understand. You have to experience that to understand that statement. If you do not understand that statement, you do not understand what I'm talking about. You don't need to understand. What I'm giving you is a pathway towards getting there. Getting where? When you experience universal wisdom inside yourself, it becomes your experience. What does this mean? Look at any great endeavor in human history. How did it happen? The beginning is an accidental happening. Something came to me. I realized something. For me, it was on September 20th at 5 o'clock in the morning. I woke up, my light on my clock is blinking at me and saying, get up, your life is going to change. Do this every day. And I did. I followed that. But I thought it was something outside of myself that was doing this. Even though I felt connected to it inside myself, I saw it as something separate from me. That's not true. The opportunity comes when you follow that, whatever it is for you, it's different from person to person, deeper. You want something, you have a desire, you have a picture of a life or a business or pursuit, whatever it is that you want. How are you going to get there? You're not going to get there doing what you used to do. It won't work. Because even if you make it happen, you won't be happy with it. You'll want another one. When you expand access to universal wisdom, you become universal wisdom. It's all in you, and it is you at the same time. We live in this world of synchronicity moments where you are already experiencing this if you've been successful and you're allowing this to happen, and you may be accelerating fast into this, where all of a sudden just people are showing up, the ideas are showing up, the success just shows up. You feel like you don't have to do that much. That's the beginning of this. That's the beginning of the leap, don't run phase. These things that are available to you in universal wisdom can be, it's a hard word to use, but I'm going to use it anyways to make it easier to understand, controlled by you. That's not really true. So there's a concept called doing, not doing. There's a concept called the power of now. There's a concept called allowing. This is what this means. It means that through your consistent thought, knowing what you want, you're setting in motion these synchronicity patterns. And when you experience the power of now experience, connection into your deeper self as one self, where intuition and the voice of God, if that's what you want to call it, become you, that changes everything. When that happens, you are now partners, not the subject of, not the object of that little voice. In other words, That little thing talking to you is actually you. How do you get to this? Stop meditating. Stop trying. Stop working at it. There's nothing wrong with those things. I'm going to add something different. Spend 30 minutes a day with that little directional signal, whatever it is. It works like CPG chat. Create some prompts and begin to develop a relationship with it. Do not think that this thing is up here and you are down here and you are being directed by it. That is an appearance that is not actually true. You will realize that as you develop a deeper connection into that source. Why is this important? Because you'll get everything you always wanted. Isn't that good enough? It certainly was for me. And I will tell you, going on this journey, the road less traveled, particularly finding the secret branch on the road less traveled, is worth it.